Hey guys, Christian here, and today I'm excited to bring you a six-part series whereby I will be sharing some of the lessons that I learned while training in one of the best, in my opinion, kickboxing gyms in the world. Now, during this time, I kept somewhat of a diary, and I'll be relying on that to bring you the information. And during this past year, I've been doing a master's in coaching, and I'll be using some of that experience to help me with explaining some of the things that I've been through. But before I do that, I think it's important that I share with you some of my history because it will make the whole series make more sense and put a lot of things in context. So, without further ado, here's a bit of my history. Okay, so when I was a teenager, I was a pretty shy and overweight kid, big introvert still to this day. And most of my time consisted of pretty much playing Counter Strike with my friends in various internet cafes. And somewhere along the line, I wanted to lose the weight. So what I did was I changed my lifestyle completely. I gave up gaming and I started going to the gym. And it was around 16 when I was first introduced to Fedor's run in Pride. And I found it very impressive, which inspired me to join a kickboxing gym. So from 17 to 18, I that was the first time I did any sort of combat sports, and I really enjoyed it. But in my country, all young males have to do a 2 year mandatory army service after finishing high school. So I thought it would I would be doing myself a huge disservice if I joined the regular ranks of the army. So what I did was I decided to join the special forces, and that was again one of the best decisions I've ever made. Now looking back at it now, because at the time it was pretty miserable. It pretty much felt like being a slave in a lot of ways, but I learned a lot of valuable lessons in the army, such as the importance of teamwork and not being afraid to ask for help when you really need it. I was pretty disillusioned when I first finished. I would tell myself things like, so you've been through those 2 years, what did you really gain apart from a lot of physical and mental abuse? And the truth is, it made me a lot stronger, and it made my kickboxing career and my coaching career. It made me. It humbled me in a lot of ways. It was the first most humbling experience of my life, and I wouldn't change it for the world. So after my army experience, I went straight to university and did a 3 year bachelor in psychology. And that really helped out with my mindset and taught me a lot of lessons about how the human mind works. And um, I was particularly interested in the sports psychology module, which further enhanced my knowledge about what it means to be an athlete and the importance of motivation and imagery and all kinds of things. After I was done with my bachelor degree, uh, I perhaps naively wanted to go straight into fighting. I during my that university experience, I would do a lot of boxing and some jiu-jitsu, and I was trained under a former amateur champion in boxing. And I learned a lot about the fundamentals of the jab, the importance of movement, and learning all that before you even step into a ring to spar. I think it's really important that fighters really start to understand not moving towards the opponent's power side and all these kind of information before you start sparring, because if you go into sparring way too early, you can easily get down on yourself, and it will hamper your improvements. It's just my opinion. So after I finished my psychology degree, I wanted to get straight into fighting. Uh, Throughout that whole time in university, I was doing was dreaming of becoming a fighter. That has been my goal from day one in university. So what I did was I did a lot of research about what would be the ideal gym for me, and also something that a lot of people don't talk about is that within the culture of mixed martial arts, and particularly in the UFC, people love knockouts, right? I mean, this is not a secret. Most performance bonuses go to knockout artists, and submissions are less favored. So I I thought to myself, if I'm going to make a name for myself and have a lot of fans, I would have to become a striking specialist. So I decided to join Hammer's Gym in Holland. So why did I choose Hammer's Gym specifically? Well, it was really important to me to join a gym that had a significant lineage. And what I mean by that is I wanted to join a gym that was proven as uh, um, a system that produced champions. And Hammer's Gym definitely has that, because it was the home of the late Ramon Deckers, who died in 2013. And for those of you who are not aware of him, I'm going to put a link down below to Lawrence Kenshin's video, who I think encapsulated what the great things Ramon Deckers did for kickboxing, especially in the West, in that he challenged a lot of Thais in their home soil and was very successful, and a beast of a fighter, because he would fight injured a lot, and he would overcome adversity, and that really inspired me. Since Ramon Deckers, a lot of fighters have come and gone in this gym, namely Alistair Overeem, Gokhan Saki, and a lot of others. And some of the current fighters that are pretty famous there are Jamal Ben Sadiq, who recently challenged Verhoeven for the heavyweight title in Glory, as well as Errol Zimmerman, who's also a heavyweight kickboxer and very successful in his own right. Another reason why I chose Hammer's Gym was because in my country, Cyprus, we don't have very many established kickboxing gyms that train professionals. And I wanted to go to an environment that had a professional class, and Hammer's Gym definitely offered that for me. In this first episode, I want to talk to you about leg kicks, a technique that has been mastered by the Dutch kickboxing community, and a technique that one must become familiar with if they're looking to become a serious combat sports athlete. Even if you don't like to throw them, you better make sure you learn how to deal with them, because you will end up with your ass on the ground very fast if you neglect learning this technique. Um, Let me first talk to you about my first experience training with the professionals. Now, keep in mind that by this time, I've only had some boxing experience, like I mentioned, at university, and I had a very rudimentary kicking game. So it's Monday morning, it's the professional class. I walk in there and I'm thinking, my first professional class, training with professional. As soon as I walk in, I felt like a fraud, you know what I mean? I was like, what am I doing here? Just looking around at all these beasts. And at the back of my mind, I was thinking that the coach, Nick Hammers, who's Ramon Decker's brother, I was thinking to myself, there's no way he's going to make me spar the professionals from my first day here, but I was sadly wrong. So what happens is we do our warm up and we do a lot of drilling, and it's been we've been training for about an hour when he asks us to spar, and he asks me to step into the ring and fight, well, spar with a professional, and I'm really, really nervous, guys, like really nervous. And while I'm about to walk in the ropes, within the ropes to step into the ring, one of the ladies that was training there turned around and told me, if he goes too hard, just kick him in the balls. And I was like, wow, you really did not make me feel much better about this right now. But anyway, so I walk in there and I'm sparring this fighter named Juan, and he's a local champion in the Netherlands. And we start off, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, use that boxing knowledge, use that boxing experience. So I throw my jab out there. I think I might have landed one jab, and and what I noticed was he wasn't retaliating very hard, which I knew he could have killed me if he wanted to. Which, in retrospect, I'm very thankful that he didn't. But what the Dutch do is they hit you hard in the body, but they will not hit you very hard to the head. So he lands one low kick, guys, one low kick, and my whole world turned upside down. And while I didn't fall from the first leg kick, I thought to myself, like everything changed. My mental, I was like lost. I was so overwhelmed with pain that I could not even think about initiating any offense whatsoever. You just like become a victim almost. You get this victim mentality of okay, I just need to survive right now, and that's pretty much what happened. I tried to use my movement. That didn't really work because I couldn't put weight on that leg. My jab had not much impact because again, the jab, a lot of the force that you create with the jab comes from that front foot, right? And it was pretty badly damaged. And when he landed a second leg kick, I just let out this very girly scream and fell to the ground. And the coach was watching someone else by that point, and he immediately saw me fall, and he asked the guys what happened, because he perhaps thought that I got knocked down or something, but they like assured him, don't worry, it's just a leg kick. We're not gonna kill you, this new guy from the first day here. So what happened after that? I pretty much limped home, and it was really difficult for me to walk up the stairs for at least a week, and I had to miss a couple of sessions because I couldn't even bike to the gym, guys. Like the I couldn't even do the pedaling motion in the with the bicycle because my left leg was just so bruised up and I couldn't bend it. One of the biggest myths, especially within the mixed martial arts community, is that you cannot condition your leg to take leg kicks. And I've heard this before a lot, but it's not true. While the first month in this gym was absolutely miserable and very painful for me, um, I very quickly learned how to put weight on that leg and just take leg kicks, even when sparring really big guys. And the reason behind that is repetition. Dutch kickboxers, and especially in the gym I was at, you would not have a class where you would not throw at least like, and I'm not even exaggerating here, guys, at least 300 leg kicks from each side, both the right leg kicks and left leg kicks. So you learn how to become ambidextrous. And I think that's the next level of kickboxing is being ambidextrous. The way TJ Dillashaw fights, for example, learning to fight from both stances, but not just learning how to fight from both stances, but learning to be defensive from both stances. Because it's one thing to be this offensive beast from a southpaw position, but you also have to learn how to defend from that position, if that makes sense. So what happened with me was because my left leg was so damaged for quite a while, I had to learn how to fight southpaw. And that's another thing that a lot of fighters neglect is when you're injured, that's an opportunity for you to work on other things. And within the Dutch community, I felt very okay about letting my sparring partners know that I have an injury here, a bit of a pain there, so that they don't target that area and make it worse for you. After learning how to take the leg kick, I became very proficient at delivering it because when you're exposed to a technique, even though it's been done to you, you start learning about the many opportunities that this technique can give you. All of a sudden, I had a good low kick game, and that opened so many doors for me because all I had to do was land a good one, and then next next time I was next time I would feint throwing it, they would lift their leg, and then all of a sudden I could unload with a boxing combination because the last thing they expected was hands in that moment, if that makes sense. So in a lot of ways, when you get very good at one thing, it opens so many doors for other techniques. I think I've blabbered on enough for one episode, but if you enjoyed this, please give me a like and subscribe. And I have put a link down below for my PayPal account. I would really appreciate it if you donated with whatever you can. I was always going to make this series for free, largely because YouTube has demonetized most of my videos because, I don't know, violence. I can't even tell. Um, I've produced something like 30 something videos and put a lot of effort behind them, and the majority of which have been demonetized. And I'm going to be completely honest with you, out of all the work I've put in my videos, I've only made, I'm not even kidding, $10. So if you can, please donate. I put a lot of effort behind these videos, and I'll be seeing you soon. Bye.